All right, in this first video, we're going to begin our next section. And this actually should say, I'm sorry, Unit 3. Apologize for that. All right, so we're looking at Unit 3. We're going to quickly review over vertical angles and linear pair of angles. In the next video, we'll talk a little bit about parallel perpendicular lines and something called a transversal. And then finally, we're going to continue with that going into the algebra with the parallel perpendicular lines, kind of as a review from last year. And then finally, we'll finish it off with distance formula, midpoint, and then some special constructions. Okay. All right, now, just a quick review. Our vertical angles. They're angles that share a vertex and have no other points in common. So, for example, the two angles that I put x's in right here. And we know that they are congruent. For example, another pair of vertical angles would be those two angles right there. So vertical does not have to mean up and down. It just means that those two angles are congruent. They share a vertex and they have no other points in common. And then finally, a linear pair of angles are angles that share a vertex and they have a common ray. Okay, they share a vertex and a common ray. And those angles also have to be supplementary. Okay, so like angles 1 and angle 2 here. Those are a linear pair. They're supplementary. They share this ray right here, and they have that common vertex. All right, so let's look at just a couple of examples, and that'll be it for this video. Real short and sweet on these next couple of videos, because we're going to have some discussions as we go through on these lessons. All right, so for this first example, I want to solve for x and for y. Well, based on what I've given there, the first thing I'm going to do is solve for x, because right now I don't want to set, I could set these two angles equal to each other because they're vertical. The problem with doing that is that I will have an x and a y in my equation, and I'm not really able to solve that. However, I can take these two angles because those are a linear pair. So what I can do is 2x plus 15 plus 5x minus 52, and that equals 180. Okay, so now I can just go ahead and combine my like terms. So 2x and 5x is 7x plus 15 minus 52. So that's going to be what? Plus 37. I'm sorry, minus 37. And that equals 180. I want to finish solving for x, so I'm going to go ahead and add 37 to both sides. So that just leaves me with 7x. Equals, and then 180 plus 37 is 217. Finally, I divide both sides by 7, so x is going to equal 31. Okay, so my x is 31. Now I want to go ahead and solve for y. Well, I've got multiple options. I can go ahead and plug my 7 in there. So that's going to be my 31. So 2 times 31 plus 15. And if I simplify that, 2 times 31 is 62 plus 15, 77 degrees. Okay, so now I can go ahead and set those two equal to each other. So now I can go ahead and solve for y. So I can do 2x, which again we have is 31, minus 3y equals, and we plugged it in up here. So that 2 times 31 is 62, plus 15 is 77. And so I can set that equal to 77. Now I can solve for y, so I'm just going to simplify that. So that 2 times 31 is 62, minus 3y equals 77. I'm going to go ahead and subtract that 62 from both sides. So 77 minus 62 is 15, so it's going to give me a negative 3y equals 15. Finally, I'm going to divide both sides by that negative 3, so that's going to give me y equals negative 5. Okay, so I've got an x value as being positive, a y value as being negative, and that's just fine. There's absolutely no problem with that because when I plug it back in here, I will get a positive value for my angle. So that's just fine. All right, last example that we'll look at on this video. I want to go ahead and solve for x. Well, then I love these types of problems because it makes you think a little bit. There's multiple ways to solve it. So first thing I'm going to do, I know that this angle is 43. So I know that this angle is also 43 degrees. Okay, this angle is 109. I can find this angle right here because they're a linear pair. So I can just do that 180 minus 109 equals 71 degrees. So this angle inside the triangle there is 71 degrees. Well, now I can find that missing angle x, because if I add those two together, that will give me this angle, and then these two angles are supplementary. So my 71 plus 43 equals 114. Okay, so then I can just do from there that 180 minus 114, and that'll give me the missing angle of my triangle, which is going to be so 66 degrees. So my angle there is 66. And then finally, last thing that I've got to do is solve for x, so I can do that 180 minus 66. So my angle x is going to equal 114 degrees. Okay, so that's all we're looking at right there. All right, that's it for this video, and we'll check out the next one tomorrow night.